Welcome to episode 28 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is Thursday, September the 30th. I am not Ryan Fox, here with my fire team, Jared.
Hey guys, I'm just so ready to gild my Conqueror title for the third time next week.
And Chad Ocero.
I gotta break the news, Ryan, but they stated on the TWAB, which we'll talk about, and through tweets that is not being active until next season completely. So we'll have to wait till December.
Bad news, Jared. Sorry, buddy. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, don't forget you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, other podcast services. Be sure you subscribe and unsubscribe and subscribe, unsubscribe, and then resubscribe to the podcast. Click the bell, turn on notifications. We had another banger from Cosmo this week in the TWAB. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us Spongy friend requests. The links will be in the description and our Discord server. Jared, it's time to let the dogs out.
All right. And the TWAB and everything, first thing happened this week. We had a little bit of a story mission, and we got some dialogue, and Crow found out the truth. And he's doing a little hissy fit, and he's going on a sabbatical. So he's going to take some time off. PTO, I guess.
Triple B, baby. Crow is a triple B.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I understand a little bit being upset, but he's just like, I'm done. Toss the table, flip the table over. I'm out. I think there's
Listen, he's very much in his feelings this week. Some would call him a coward. I'm not saying that would necessarily be me that would call him a coward, but I think he's at the very least a triple B.
All right. Well, maybe we get the feel. We go join him, and maybe Ikoria sends us to go see what he's been into. Maybe get something cool out of that. So, just like the last 3 weeks, majority of the TWAB has been about trials, and we got some more trials numbers here, and maybe some more trial stories from us. First thing is that this is the final week of their test and learn versions of trials. So they've made multiple changes over the last 3 weeks. We've had matchmaking changes, and then this last weekend we had a game mode change. So solo win rate is something they always watch very closely. This past weekend it was at 27%, and then the blowout rate was at 37% for solos, and then that blowout rate dropped to 30% after Sunday on, which was when it enacts the flawless pool. So, if you're solo, you still can get in and get wins and get that reputation up to get rewards from Saint, which was double rewards weekend. So I was able to reset my rank to start working on the next set of weapons when they come about. And the next thing they watch for is competitive matches, which I think they deem that as being at least 5-2, and then closer 5-2 and up. And there's 55% on Friday and Saturday, and then it dropped to 51% on Sunday. They had 667,000 players this past weekend, and 220,000 of those going flawless, and overall 1,000 less matches than the week before. So, how did you all feel about the first week of Trials Capture Point?
Chad, you go ahead. I'll talk last on this one.
All right. Well, like I said, with the problems what I thought Bannerfall would hit, where the zones would be way too close to spawn on one side and the other, they chose basically the same map.
Yeah.
A straight line, not a circle, not something we were hoping to get, but a line where that point being that while the initial flag made a scramble, the rest of the mode just, if you could hold that zone for 40 seconds, you would win the match. You would win that round. And it's dumb. While I like it as like a tiebreaker, like at the end, like a like if it's just you 1-1 and you run out the time at the end of elimination where it pops up, it's like, okay, that's cool. But as like a a game mechanic for like the entire round, I don't know. I feel like there's so many other things that could be much more fun than capture the zone and or hold the zone for that long.
Mhm.
And it was obviously one of the worst maps they could have picked for that particular play mode. I might have had a different opinion had they picked a different map, but I don't think it would have been that different.
Yeah, that's the it rotating to the spawn after you get a loss is quite powerful, and then it kind of makes it not fun, in my opinion. Fox.
All right, so I have a lot to say here, and I know that I'm the oddball of the three here. So imagine that the other two agreeing and me being by myself. So I would like to preface saying that this past weekend I played 83 trials matches with a win loss of 46 wins, 37 losses. My KD was 0.95 with a KAD of 1.38. Out of those matches, I would say roughly 30% of those were solo queue. So kind of what happened was Friday night, I fell asleep at like 7:30 on the couch like dads do. And then I woke up at 10 o'clock and my wife and kids were all asleep and I was wide awake. So I played until 4 a.m. Found a couple clansmates and we kind of grinded through. We were doing the thing where we would get to like 4 wins, maybe 5 wins, lose our mercy, lose our card, and then have to kind of reset the card and go from there. And then Saturday I got on and my wife worked that day and my kids were at their grandmother's house. So I had all day at home by myself to play again. So I know that the flawless pool did not kick into effect until Sunday at reset, which is 1 p.m. my time. And Saturday was like win lose, still playing the people that were really good. Got to play with a couple clan mates that we don't typically play with, just because I was on at weird hours of the time. And the issue was we would have, um, they were really good at PvP. I'm like a really good like like if it was a scramble, I would have been like somewhere between a B and a C on the scramble. I could win around here or there, but I'm not good enough to carry whatsoever. And we were just having a hard time getting a third teammate. I know Jared was out most of the weekend, so Sunday rolls around after reset, and I messaged Chad, "Hey, let's play some trials." We pulled one of our other clanmates in and played, and I think the first card we got to like 4 wins and had to reset. The second card we made it to the flawless game and lost and had to reset. And at this point, it was like, do we go to bed or do we push one more card? We pushed one more card and we were able to go flawless on that card. And after we went flawless, I think we played 2 more games on our flawless card. I think Chad got another adept roll. I did not get another adept roll on our win that we had on that. And that was kind of my trials experience. So what I will say is I like the game mode more than most people, based upon what I've read on Twitter and watched in YouTube videos from a lot of the content creators. I do understand some of the complaints as far as like, so if you're up 4-0 and then you lose a round, the flag will be in your spawn. I think the flag should have reset to center as opposed to resetting to your spawn at that point. And then, because that just made too much of a disadvantage. So what you could do is if you ran if you had like a stag warlock, you could kind of keep everybody pushed back long enough for the flag like the capture point to open up, which happens at 31 seconds. And then your person could start capturing and you were able to withstand enough damage to kind of keep 1 or 2 people back. So if you had one person that could take a one-on-one and one person pushing the other two back, you could get like a free round win on those, which we kind of took advantage of quite a bit. Um, I really like the game mode. I wish the game mode had more neutral points as opposed to going all the way back to A and C. But it's also, they're trying to repurpose maps that they already have. So I wish they would have came out with a new map or at least different zones other than A, B, and C that you see in like Control. But it's Trials Labs. We knew it wasn't going to be perfect. I liked the objective game mode, but I also enjoy objective multiplayer game modes. So I think they have a nice base to work with. And I think everybody kind of flew off the handle Friday and Saturday saying how much they hated it. So I'm afraid that we're not going to see it again.
Well, Cosmo, they listed out some changes that they are making to this trial zone, and it's actually coming back in December with a couple different things. They're looking into having different spawn locations for the zone. Maybe not. They said it was easy to ship it as A, B, and C as it is in Control without them having to do a lot of rework. So that's why they shipped it that way. And then also removing super energy whenever you capture a point, so it keeps the snowball effect from happening. Those two changes are good. I think a lot of this trials weekends for me is going to come down to the map. This is just not a good map. It's not. It's not Burnout. It's not Javelin 4. So I think if it's one of those two maps, I think this game mode would probably play better.
I absolutely have to agree. So I do want to say I prefer elimination over this game mode of like the capture the flat or like the capture the zone. But the capture the zone did do a pretty good job of like shortening the rounds and kind of centering everything into one area, which is what they were trying to do. So that it did do a good job of that, but I do prefer elimination. I would like to say that. And I do not like this Wormhaven map. It's one of my least favorites, other than like Anomaly. I do not like that map. That's probably my least favorite map.
But see, I actually
So,
like Anomaly in threes. It makes sense for threes. If it's anything more, maybe fours it'd be okay, but other than that,
which
I mean,
and we don't get
the
to play it
build,
in threes very often.
yeah.
So,
All right, so for me, trials was a very disappointing weekend. Tried to play Friday night, and it was terrible. Like a 30% win percentage, and then Monday night I logged in, and I ran into like double carry stacks that was on like 50 to 100 game win streaks that just doing carries all night long and all weekend long, resetting their card when they get the 5 or 6 wins. I think Bungie really needs to do something about those because a night of playing and me seeing it every 3 or 4 games that just tear apart a card, it's quite difficult and disheartening for the most part.
yeah, and we should say we played a card Friday night and we were what 4-0 going into it, and then we lost like 7 straight matches or something of just like the sweat lords coming. You could tell that all the dads like me went to bed, and like those California kids came on and just wiped the floor with us.
All right, so enough negative PvP talk. Here's a positive thing that Bungie started up this week. They started up a new club, and that new club is accessibility at Bungie. So what their mission is they're partnering up with organizations within the gaming industry who are dedicated to game accessibility. This club has worked closely with several teams at Bungie to create a diverse and inclusion pin series that for a Bungie store entitled "Everyone Can Play," and an emblem the same would be included. So what they're doing here is like they just want everybody to play a really well made game, no matter the shortcomings or difficulties that you've went through in life or born with or whatever's been happened to you. Uh, and everybody should be able to game. Everybody should be able to become a guardian. Go shoot dregs. We all have our not not every part of the game is going to be fun for you. Like for me, PvP is like lackluster, but everybody can go run a dungeon, do strikes, and have and fun in a well-made game. And this is the purpose of this. Um, so 100% of these profits are going to Able Games Foundation, and for the entire month of October. So this emblem's pretty sweet. I usually never bought any of the pins off Destiny store, but this one looks super cool, and I might purchase this one.
Yeah, the only one I've ever purchased was the Destiny Tricorn logo,
Yep.
and I stuck it on like the side of my hat here, of my like University of Kentucky hat on
Yeah.
there. You know, just to kind of represent my two favorite things to root for on there.
I'm
But
not much of a pin guy either, but this pin is cool, and the emblem is simple but very clean, and it's going for a good cause. So I'm like, I'm right there on the, oh shoot, where do I put the pin if I get it?
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I know
It'd
Xbox
be
came out with
it'd
that
be
big rectangle thing that people is like it helps
yeah.
with that.
That's actually what I was going to talk about. That is their accessibility controller that they have. So it almost kind of looks um
Turntable.
like something a DJ, like a turntable, like a DJ would use
Yeah,
actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
So and that thing's really cool. Like if you watch some of the videos on it, it's able to take a lot of things like a lot of different devices can plug into the back of it to be used, such as like people that don't have control of their hands are able to use like their tongue and their breath and those type of things, like adapters that can come up that they can use. And I remember they had a really, really, really cool Super Bowl commercial where they talked about I think it's called the accessibility controller. I want to say it's not terribly expensive, but it's pretty hard to find in stock for whatever reason. Most of the time when I go to look for it, it's out of stock. So I'm sure they're working on that to try to put it in more people's homes. And uh, if I recall correctly, you can even use that on PlayStation. Like it's not just locked to the Xbox ecosystem. So good on Microsoft for that. You know, they've really kind of this since Phil Spencer kind of took over. It's been about the most amount of people being able to play the most amount of games has kind of seemed to be their mantra, and I think it's great. I really like it.
oh, yeah. And then the next topic is more fashion and the TWAB, and people submitting their threads of light builds. If you care about that, you can go check them out. Me looking at them, I think if you're taking the time to post some of this stuff on social media, you need to step your game up a little bit. Uh, I'm seeing some. I think the community can do better. So if you want to sink your time into that,
I will say that the Titan kind of looks like the Titan that I uh, rightfully stole off of somebody like 2 seasons ago that I saw on Twitter, and it's just now winning an award. It's kind of like the if you take a Mithrax, Shiva, red and black approach, it kind of turned into that. And the name of that controller, by the way, is the Xbox Adaptive Controller. I was able to pull it up uh, on here. And so, if that's something you're interested in, it's definitely there, and it takes a lot of different devices that you're able to use with it.
all right. So our next topic here is that Grandmasters are finally coming back next week, and man, I was super hyped. You know, we get into a little pre-show talk, and Fox was like, "Hey, did you see this? We're not gonna be able to go next week." I was like, "What? It says in the TWAB we can." Nope. Uh, you know, Cacus tweeted out asking Cosmos for some clarification and stuff, and somebody else replied, and basically, it's not coming until December. The catch-up note. So next week we are only getting the hollow layer to play. So if you want to start week one, the Grandmasters, you need to be 1345 light. Um, so it doesn't matter how you get there. I mean, you can have your gear leveled up all the way to 1330, and then have 15 on your seasonal artifact, or have 20 on your seasonal artifact, and your gear is only up to 1325. Just do whatever you can to get there. So I think they're starting out the Grandmasters a little bit of a bummer for me. Like, it's nice getting to do Hollowed Lair, but I was really hoping just to bang these out in 1 week and get that fancy title.
Oh yeah,
Are we gonna talk? Go ahead, Chad.
what? No, I feel like you're gonna say something. What you like to
No, I
say?
was gonna say, are we gonna talk the? Do you really believe that Bungie's not able to figure out how to do this until December, or is this a way to keep us in? Because we have one more story beat before it breaks off till the end of the season. We assume
I think is
because we're
this
on
week
what? Wait,
6,
this is week
right?
7. I thought we just did.
No, because this is the third. We're the second time around on the third Shattered Realm. So
All
6,
right.
and then
All right.
the quest ends on 7. So next week
Okay.
is going to
So
be
I thought it ended on 8 and we were on 7, but really it ends on 6 and or it ends on 7 and we're on 6. So I guess the thing is, do we really think Bungie is not able to figure out how to turn this node on, or is this a way to keep us around, keep up that player engagement a little bit, keep us logging in every week? What do you guys think?
I think you got your spin metal hat on too tight, but you might be right for once.
Well, I got mine on. I mean, this is 100% fact. That's what's going on. They're seeing the player engagement of other games, people, this other stuff that's coming out. It's like, you know what? We need these people in here every week to come in and gild that title, because the only thing people come in and do is do a Shattered Realm and Astral Alignment to get the story mission done, and that's 30 minutes, and you're done with the stuff you have to do that week.
Let's be
So
honest. Let's be honest. It's a real painful 30 minutes too,
yeah,
doing that astral alignment into the shattered realm.
I think week 1, I was saying that this ain't it for this season, and man, I'm feeling it. It's Destiny's at a low point right now for me. I just look so far in the future for everything, and the stuff I have in front of me, it's like kind of tired of it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't disagree with what you're saying. Um, thank God we're getting that anniversary stuff to tide us over, because
Yep.
if we weren't, it's gonna be looking real bleak up until February. So, speaking of February, have you guys requested off work yet, or do you have to wait until like January to request?
I might have.
I mean, I can just do it like a week before. It's like,
Yeah.
it's all good.
Must be nice. It's not like that in healthcare. In healthcare, we have to. I think I have to. I think I have until December to request off. So I'll probably request the week of the expansion off. I might try to work Monday and Tuesday and just request off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Is kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe try to request like a light day Tuesday or a half day or something, so I can get everything cranked out by like 11 a.m. and then come in. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Save some of that PTO.
Yeah, I'm at the point now I have to use PTO because I won't be able to roll it over for next year. So today I don't feel like working the rest of the day, and told my boss, it's like, all right, have a good weekend. So I got to play some other games, and we'll talk about that at
Yeah.
another point.
Yeah, it must be nice. I have another vacation coming up here in like 31 days where we're flying down and hopping on a big cruise ship. So hopefully we don't get stuck on that thing for like 3 weeks, unable to get off of it.
Well, if you do, I got a couple of people lined up to take your spot.
There we
Just have
go.
to send out
That's
some
all right.
emails.
Yeah, it's all right. He'll just blow up our Discord and stuff we have to talk about, and how we can't agree on everything, Chad. It's okay. His presence will be known.
That's right. Don't think I won't pay that $7 a day for the cruise Wi-Fi.
I'll just have like a separate another camera with like a Ryan cutout like next to it,
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
and a green screen thought bubble that we can just add stuff to.
All right, so that's it into the TWAB. I promised you last week, probably the best thing that's still going on in this game right now is the Prophecy Dungeon. And we're going to give you the the roles to go chase after. Um, First thing is the last breath. It's a kinetic 600 RPM auto rifle. So 600s, they kind of got nerfed a little bit, during seasonal rivals. They buffed them, and they ran through the Crucible, and they've never quite been there, but they're still a solid auto rifle. And for PvP, you're looking. I'll really enjoy Airhead Break, just to make stuff feel so good whenever you're holding down the trigger, and then high caliber rounds to just the flinch people just a little bit more, because with these auto rifles you have to mainly be in cover the entire time. So that's just to help you there a little bit, and then dramatic spray reduction and rangefinder just to push the your engagement out a little bit farther. With me in PvP, a lot of times, like, I care more about how the gun behaves majority of the time it's in my hands, not when it's procced with kill clip or reload perk. So that's the reason I'm going with dramatic spray reduction and rangefinder for PvP. So PvE, there's definitely a lot of good different roles you can go with this weapon. So again, I'm going Airhead Break just to make it feel good, and then ricochet rounds or armor piercing rounds. Armor piercing rounds are important because of anti-barrier that's on auto rifles this season. So you break that shield just a little bit faster. And then I'm going demolitionist with either one for all or frenzy. There's some other grenade builds going on with last breath if you want to. You pair in with demolitionist in the third column, and then the fourth column you could have osmosis or the adrenaline junkie. If Bungie ever decides to buff adrenaline junkie, which I think they will at some point, because I think for the majority of the community it's an insta shred every time it comes out.
Yep, that perk sucks. I don't keep anything with that on it.
Nope.
I don't have the vault space to be able to keep it, man. I just don't. I'm at 499 out of 500. I have like 2 kinetic slots open on every character, like 1 total energy slot open, and power weapons I'm not hurting too bad. But I mean, it's a nightmare. This vault stuff and everything right now, it's bad. And we know we got a dungeon coming later this year and everything else. So it's you know, it's hard living right now.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start making some hard decisions and cutting that down. I started deleting like multiple rolls of exotic armor. Like, I used to want to have like 2 flavors of them just in case, depending on, especially chest piece, that exotic chest piece, because for damage resists. And now they added this stasis as to another one that you might need for a different kind of build, depending on what the new mods when they come out. It's getting hard for only 500, and I think we touch on that every other week. maybe
No
the
way.
maybe the squeaky wheel will finally get greased at some point. All right, so the next weapon is Judgment, 140 RPM hand cannon that is kinetic. To me, this is my most sought after weapon in the dungeon, and the reason is demolitionist in the third slot and time payload in the fourth slot. So that's it for PVE. If I get those 2, I'm gonna be really happy. If I'm completing the role, I want true sight and then accurized in a range masterwork. If I'm getting picky, if I just get those 2, I really miss my old fashioned. That was Sunset from Season of Dawn. I've used that many a times. And then this weapon also has a good PvP role with true sight, accurized, moving target, and time payload again. I'm just a fan of using hand cannons that has the explosive payload or time payload in PvP, just to throw people off just a little bit of not getting used to being their screen jarring so much on a hit. But
That extra flinch, especially from time payload, is hilarious because you get the little flinch from the bullet, and then bang, and all of a sudden it's a little bit more flinch, and
yeah,
if you get good with it, you hit a couple shots and it's over. It's a lot of fun.
now this next weapon, I think Fox, you are a big fan of that's coming out of this, right?
No, dude, this weapon is my enemy. I'm not a fan of this weapon. I don't have a good roll of this weapon. I think I mentioned last week or the week before, trying to run the boss of prophecy, because hoping that this was the weapon that fell from the boss. That way I could farm that boss over and over. But it is the darkest before. It's the arc rapid frame pulse rifle. PVE, it's a pulse rifle, nothing to get real excited about. Probably looking for arrowhead, ricochet, overflow, and rampage, or one for all in that final slot. I love overflow. It's probably, if I get anything with overflow, I'm pretty happy PVE wise, especially if you get a damage perk with overflow, such as rampage or one for all. The main thing here is the PvP roll of this, which you can roll arrowhead, high caliber, and then you can get tunnel vision or surplus in that first slot, and then rampage in the second slot with that as well. Um, as somebody that's played well over 150 matches of trials this season and through 3 weeks, that gun is absolutely shreds in trials. That gun and the other one is Messenger, that has like Desperado, or as we like to call it, Despacito on it. Those two pulse rifles are in my nightmares. That and No Time to Explain. So don't sleep on those three. I shouldn't have even said it. I shouldn't have even spoken into existence. But so those, in my opinion, I know Jared really likes some of these weapons, but the only gun to care about in this would be a PvP roll of this darkest before pulse rifle. I don't really care for anything else out of this dungeon myself.
Yeah, I think we've had a couple arc pulses right now. I think we have at least one that's not sunset in all vaults, so it is not like a must have go get, but it does live in the nightmares of PvP for me. And we should also mention that you can also get subsistence and rampage on this, which would be just an all around great role to have, PvE or PvP. So the next weapon is a sudden death, and it's an aggressive frame shotgun that is arc, and these got hit pretty hard this season with nerfs, and over the last season too, with the nerfs to quick draw, to the pellet spread, the sliding and shooting at the same time. So taking that all into account, the PvP role is quite different than other shotguns. You're going full stroke and assault mag. That's not different. Like that's a no brainer. But then you're going threat detector and elemental capacitor, and that element capacitor, and you're on an arc subclass. And if you have threat detector Brock 2, you have your handling pretty much maxed at that point. That is old school quick draw, fell winners lie. It's 100, almost 100 handling all the time. That shotgun is going to feel very snappy and be able to pull it out in tight situations and get the shot off. And then PVE, you're going to have a pretty cool role to use also. You got full choke, assault mag, then grave robber with 1-2 punch. I mean, Chad, the marriage of grave robber and 1-2 punch, can it get better than that?
No, I mean, like you'd have to stack another major perk like 1-2 punch on top of it to make it any better. It's oh man, I love 1-2 punch so much.
Yeah.
Back in my 100 main days in Season of the Dawn, I was 2-4 punching people with triple shotties all day long, and just melting bosses before people got to them, and that was easily one of my favorite times. But have you gotten that threat detector elemental capacitor on this yet?
No, I've had
Because
terrible luck
after
in this.
I
In this
saw you
dungeon.
typing that in, I was like, oh shoot, that sounds like fun. Like,
Yeah,
oh man, and I hate
yeah.
Fellwinter's
I've been
Lie, but
trying.
if oof.
Yep. Um, I still dream of the day that we get 1-2 punch and threat and trench barrel as columns 3 and 4 on a shotgun. I just hope one day we will get it, and I'll give up a large portion of my time to grind for that weapon. Or heck, maybe one day we actually get to craft it. All right, so this next one is probably the least exciting weapon to ever get the drop in this dungeon, and this is the weapon I get the absolute most of, and that's a Swift Verdict. And it is a void precision frame sidearm. Know what that's good for? 4 legendary swords. So whenever I get this drop, so
Hey, now that's not very nice.
well, the truth is what it is. I mean, Crow finally got the truth, and he went on sabbatical. So I'm just going to keep it a stack from now on.
Hey, so there are definitely way too many weapons that drop. There's too many total drops that drop from this dungeon for it to only have what 4 drops that happen.
It's
One
six.
after the
It's 6 2 per counter, and then 2
okay.
chests.
The chest. Those were the ones I was kind of leaving out.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, and like with the armor and like uh the original weapons and now the old trials weapons in there, I think it's too big of a loophole in my opinion.
Yeah, having 2 armor sets in there does hurt you on the chests, on the free chest, but you only get those once per character per week. The great thing about this dungeon, it is farmable. You can save a checkpoint and continue to do the same encounter over and over again of the weapon of your choice. So at that point, it does suck that you can get armor instead of that weapon. If they cut down their armor drops to be like it's only legs or cloak the first encounter, then it's only chest and gauntlets in the second encounter, then the boss is only the headpiece or the weapons. That would go a long way with the farm. Um, but still, being you or to somewhat target these weapon drops is some of the best as we can for something that's not in the helm for us to go get. And then the final weapon is the long walk, and it's the aggressive frame, sniper, and then it's solar. Um, this thing can pack a punch in PVE. To me, I love handling on snipers, so I always go fluted in the first column, and then you can go appended mag in a second. So that gives you the extra shot in the mag, but doesn't decrease your reload speed. And then you're either gonna go clown cartridge or overflow with firing line. Uh, that combo, I wish I could get that combo. If I'm on Destiny and not doing the Shattered Realm stuff, I hope that I'm just in Prophecy grinding for this sniper or the Judgment in the first encounter. So that's to me the first encounter is the one I care most about, and then it's the boss encounter after that to try to get the shotgun, which is also where the pulse rifle drops. So to me, encounter 1 and the boss encounter, the two ones a grind, and the cube rotation encounter that takes too long because
Hour,
I
an
always get bad
hour.
luck. It might feel like an
You get
hour,
you
but
get 2 on the ceiling, so you
mm-hmm.
get 2 extra rotations. Look at Chad shake his head. Look at him
They
over
they
there.
they increased the probability of the roof. I'm
Oh yeah,
telling you, dude, and it's horrible. It's horrible. I had one where I was running the homies through, and I think we got 3 or 4 roofs, and it's
Oh
just
man,
like, bro,
that's rough.
like, oh my gosh,
Whenever I get 2, I'm furious.
this
On
one room's
the
taking
roof,
longer than the rest of this dungeon.
yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the cube, if that encounter was instead of a cube, if it was just a square, I feel like it
Oh
would go a long way to making this much more
yeah.
replayable.
Mm-hmm.
Because that encounter taken at times 8 rotations, it seems like, to get through, and then you know you have the you have 2 big open sections calling like the sparrow encounter, like the ribbon race, a big open section, and then like the desert land section that also, if there's only one of those and you cut the cube down from like 6 to 4, I would be much more inclined to enjoy running that. And don't get me wrong, the first time we ran that, when that first dropped, we had a lot of fun because we were under light, and it was like a nice difficult challenge, but not like beat our heads off the wall difficult. So you know I know that we enjoyed it, but it's not, to me, I don't enjoy running it um multiple times each week now.
Yeah, so I think you probably got Pinnacle Cap now, where you don't even have to worry about it, right? I've been grinding it.
No, I haven't ran it in. Well, full disclosure, I do still need the cloak on my hunter, but everything else is fully maxed out. So I've just been running like the playlist stuff I can do solo, and um, if if we run a if we run a raid, which all of our boys kind of have the Vex now, so we don't really have to do that too much anymore. So if we were to run a raid, I would run my hunter through that as well. But otherwise, I'm just on my maxed out warlock, just playing the way I want to play and doing the stuff I want to do, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and finish the PvP role on the long walk. It's fluted ricochet, killing when a snapshot. So that basically gets you the same kind of feeling weapon of Adored is, but it hits harder being an aggressive frame. All right, Fox. This next section here. Spoiler alert. The weapon text. What's going on, man?
All right. So a good podcast co-host would have a bunch of stuff pulled up about this, but I'm just going to shoot it off the cuff here. So there was a interview that occurred with somebody from Bungie with a website, and there was kind of like one little throwaway question that kind of got it got picked up by Mr. Forbes, Jared's boy Paul Tassi, in there, and I saw that. And the question is in regards to the weapon. Spoiler alert. So I'm going to have Chad pull up what exactly the flavor text is on this weapon. So, in regards to this weapon was around previously in the game. It was around prior to the Forsaken releasing, and we all know that the primary story beat of Forsaken was that Cade 6, uh, rest in peace, is he gets slaughtered essentially in that. So this weapon kind of got reprised this season, comes back out, and we have our random rolls and things on it. And the flavor text on this weapon, if I recall correctly, is somebody is going to die. So they ask the person from Bungie about this, and it says they're like, "Hey, is this a coincidence, or that this weapon became reprised now, or is there something to look into this?" And they kind of slyly say, "Hey, it's definitely not a coincidence." So what that is saying is somebody's going to die. So I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter and other places about death pools and things like that. So, and once things start trending on Twitter, Mr. Forbes comes along and writes like a 300-word article about it, and gets those clicks. So I want to ask you guys, if we assume that somebody is going to die, which Bungie has more or less came out and said, who do you guys think is the most likely to die?
I'll go ahead and say the same spiel I've been saying for a while. Um, it's going to be Mara. A tale of two queens this season. We know Queen Savvy makes it out. So I think Mara would no longer be with us at the end of the season.
I think that Jared has the most evidence, obviously, about that. It makes the most sense. It's the most story driven for sure, based off of the lore and stuff. I know I think it's probable, but not likely. It would definitely be good story wise though. But I honestly don't have a guess that has any kind of reasoning behind it besides Jared's Mara or me being like, I don't know, who else is important that we can throw away, because we know Akora is still there because she's in the trailer. Vavuzela, is he going bye bye? I don't think so. I don't think they would get rid of him too when they just barely are replacing Cade somehow. Yeah, I think Mara's the most
Hmm.
likely target.
Is she a big enough character that people will care?
I mean, um, I don't, for people that didn't really play D1, she isn't that big of a character because they didn't get to do any of the Queen's stuff, didn't get to go defeat Skolas and do all that stuff, and then watch her quote unquote die during the attack on Oryx. So they didn't have any of that kind of connection to her. All they had was finally seeing Petra in the Dreaming City and then talking to her every third week, and that was it. But I think story wise and lore wise, she's big enough character, and she's doing a lot this season that it would make sense that she could be a potential target of something that could be very dramatic. Have it like she just comes back and all of a sudden, bang, she's gone. Like, I think it makes the most sense.
So let's talk this out here. So if you think Mara makes the most sense, um, so I have two questions. A, who would be the person to kill her? And B, what would put her, because she's kind of a cunning lass. So with that, you would think what tilts her enough to put her to get her to where she puts herself in a position to be offed. So would it be that somebody's messing with her brother that they kind of have this weird she kind of has this weird relationship with, and we just witnessed this week in the storyline? Is that what puts her on tilt to make a bad decision to be killed, do you think?
I mean, how about the fact she made a deal with Savathun? That alone sets you up for failure. So Saint's mad on a rampage, trying to find Osiris, which he very likely could just be dead at this point. I know we've gotten some lore of some stuff going on with him, but I think he could just easily be decaying away right now. So I think Mara's actions of trying to outsmart Savathun, people being mad about that and making a deal, not to mention Savathun thinks that Mara's going to try to kill her at the end of this season, is not going to work out.
So I kind of think that it's not going to be Mara. So Jared and I were talking, and one thing I've been seeing floating around online is that Saint 14 is going to be the person to go. I don't think that it will be Saint, simply because they just revamped Trials. He's the vendor for that. It doesn't make sense to do that necessarily. It would be interesting, but man, I would be pretty bummed out if it was Saint. I really like Saint, and Saint and Osiris. They are the like the same sex couple of the story. And Bungie, with all their inclusivity and trying to have different people represented in the game, to me it would just feel weird for them to do that. So I thought that the I think, and I hate to even speak this into existence, but what if it's Ikora? What if Ikora is trying to somehow save her mentor Osiris? She gets herself in a bad situation and she dies. And you know what that is going to do is it's going to really, the vanguard, the triumvirate of Zavala, Cade, and Ikora, like all three classes represented. If you take two of the three of those are gone now, it really puts our backs up against a wall, which could be an interesting plot point. Um, so I don't know. I don't think it's likely that it's Ikora, but I think she's like a dark horse. So um, the smart money would be that Savathun dies, and then she dies in order to obtain the light, and then she takes the light to her people. That's probably like the smart bet, but that's not fun. So we'll see how it goes, I suppose.
Well,
I
we
mean,
know that of course
Sav-
involved. Chad's talked about it.
yeah. Savathun dying is a no brainer. We already know that's going to happen. That's not a spoiler of in any way. She has to die in order to be resurrected by her ghost. The weird part is, one of the thoughts that I've been having recently is we know she's going to get the light, and the way it came to us is being resurrected. What happens to your memories when you're resurrected?
They're gone, right? Or
Yep.
at least I thought that. I thought that
Yeah.
was the case.
Yeah. They go away. So my only thought is we just got proof that she can give you back memories as if you lived them. Crow even says it's like I was looking through his eyes. Um, so I feel like she could have um, after death magic set up where upon resurrection, should that happen, like she gets up, goes, "Who am I?" And then bang, it hits her all at once, and then she just goes, "I'm me again," but with the light. Um, so that like we know she's gonna die. Um, but you were thinking Ikora's gonna kill somebody? Is that what you were saying?
And no, I was thinking Ikora might be the one that dies. And
She's in the
then you have
trailer.
like your Vanguard.
Or you? Okay,
Well,
I
I
Are you
think
talking
I
mean,
about
see
dying
your
this
train of
season or
thought.
dying in Witch Queen?
yeah.
Dying
My
beforehand.
thought is more like what so the way I kind of see this happening, this expansion coming, our backs are against the wall. We have no hope. Um, we have a 1% chance of winning, and that's on a good day. So the easiest way to do that would be you take out the Vanguard. Our opponents now have the same light powers that we have. Yada yada yada. That's kind of the storyline. So if Zavala is the only one left, and um, we've kind of spoke about this. We kind of think the tower is going to go as well. That's why we've been building the helm. That's like a spaceship. So, we lose the tower, we lose Ikora. All we have is the helm and Zavala and the light, which is now helping both sides of the fight. What better way to put our backs against a wall than to do that?
Yeah, I understand how that could play out, and that's definitely a good hypothesis and stuff. Um, you know, we love during the week we always think of things as we go through playing, and this week we branched out and did some older stuff. We went and did Deepstone Crypt. Took a couple clanmates that hasn't been through. It was nice to go back to there with some of the fusion rifle perks that are pretty cool and pretty like make that raid easy. Um, Fox, you said that like only four of us was actually doing DPS on Tanix.
Yeah, yeah. So not to call out anybody that may or may not listen to this. One of the person was mine and Jared's cousin that we were kind of bringing through. It was his first time through the raid. It was the guy that we went flawless with, who's a good player, but he had never played the raid either. And then we had another guy with us who had played the raid, but definitely hadn't cleared it 50 plus times like the three of us had. So whenever we ran this, we were kind of thinking what's going to make it to where we are least likely to wipe. So we were so whenever we got to the Tanix Abomination, our thought process was let's just do the 2-bomb phase or the 2-bomb strategy instead of the 4-bomb strategy on that, because trying to run 4 bombs, we're a lot more likely to lose people and die that way. So we actually I think it was our first or second attempt, we get the bombs deposited and we get to damage phase, and we'd never even discussed damage phase, honestly. Our cousin Brewer he was running Divinity because he didn't have a 1K or any sort of fusion rifle. He's kind of a returning player. He started out like a week and a half ago at 1100 light. So he's running Divinity, and I think Chad, myself, and Jared were running like Cartesian coordinate and 1K, and then uh, the other two were kind of running kind of whatever they had. So whenever whenever we go, at this point, if you want to do the 2-bomb as opposed to the 4-bomb, you only get uh, popped out of the damage phase one time instead of 2 times. So you only have like essentially two phases of damage on the final boss. And we took him down to final stand in 2 phases with basically, you might as well say 4 people doing damage to the boss at that point. And I mean, Tanix Abomination got absolutely melted. with the 1K and the Cartesian coordinate. So it was really comical that two people that had never even ran the raid, we one phased the boss there. So it is definitely something. If you've never ran that raid or you had trouble with deeps on that raid before, this is the season to go back.
He also, I just want to make this point too. He didn't after you get the full damage, he starts doing the teleport thing. He didn't even get a chance to summon the meteors. He teleported once and got deleted so quickly he didn't have a chance to summon like the drop immediate kill damage or teleport again. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and keep in mind that whenever we had like our world's first our day one raid team of 6, we were like 70% of the time killing him in one phase with 3 damage phases. Like, and that was like only 65 to 70% of the time we were doing it that way. So in order to take 2 new people through and be able to completely carry the damage phase, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, we're stacking on top of those fusion rifle busts, the focusing lens so much, those stasis on the boss, standing in a well, getting that extra percentage that way. And we decided to do the same thing on Ribbon. We did Ribbon 3 times and did Queen's Walk once to try to get a few guys 1K. And shout out to Tired. He finally got his 1K after playing off and on for, how long is Last Wish been out now?
Yeah.
And a heck of a time to get it for this long season and the amazing mods that go along with it.
Yeah, Tired was pretty happy solely for the reason that he could basically tell the people that he plays with normally to suck it whenever they all logged in. So, and as somebody that likes to really rub it in our friends' faces from time to time, I can appreciate that very much.
Right. Any other news from the week for you all in Destiny?
The only news I have is so we've been kind of eyeballing the titles for Garden and Last Wish, like Ribbonsbane, and is it Enlightened? Is that the
Yep.
one for Garden? Been kind of eyeballing those, and I know we have some of us have a few of the challenges done, but not everything done. Like the flawless is obviously going to be kind of the part of that probably makes it more difficult to complete. So I know that in the back of our minds, we've all been thinking, hey, let's run a couple people through this because we might need some people for some flawless runs eventually. So I will say I'm kind of looking forward to getting back into Garden, specifically with these fusion rifle mods. I think we could maybe one phase both the Harpy boss and the Sanctified Mind. Is that the name of the final boss there? I believe it is. I think we could maybe kill those in one. I think we can maybe one phase those with these mods this season. Particle deconstruction and focusing on.
Yep. Yeah, looking forward to that. All right. It's time to gamble some glimmer. Next week, Grandmasters are back. So we're gambling on that. And it's plus 150 odds for who's going to die first. Can't bet on yourself and you can't bet twice. All right. So it's corrupted. You spawn in an open world. You have to go get to the tunnel. Most people just jump on the sparrow and go.
You forgot part of this. There's
What?
also a flawless. There's also a flawless, which is plus 1,000 from Mr. Vegas.
Oh, have fun betting on that. I know that ain't happening.
So we have a plus 150. You're not allowed to bet on yourself. Plus 1,000 that none of us die on. This is our first attempt, right? This isn't the attempt we beat it. It's our very first attempt. First death.
All right. So, as open location, lots of red bars. There's sometimes a captain spawns at the doorway where the strike starts. Can bad luck, like you could die on the regular strike if you get hit wrong going up with a sparrow. So I think the death is actually going to happen within the first minute of this Grandmaster.
Ooh.
And I know what I'm running. I'm going Invis Hunter. So I know I ain't dying. So
I'll listen to him.
I'm going all in. I'm going 14,800 on Fox.
All in, an all in push on me.
Yeah.
So, so what I was going to do, for the sake of fairness, was I was going to do a random number generator, and then whoever gets the closest gets to pick the order for. So, based upon that, I am definitely going to be running like Phoenix Protocol, Warlock. So I am, because Jared decides not to play by the rules. I am going to make sure I don't die. I promise you. I promise all the listeners, all the viewers. I want you to look me eye to eye. I promise you, I'm not going to be the first death this week. Chad, take that for yourself. Keep in mind, I have a healing grenade, 100 discipline. I'll run 100 intellect, and I'm pretty sure I can get a triple 100 build from discipline, intellect, and recovery. So I'll have a rift. I'll run like stag. I'll run well and 100 discipline so I can heal myself with a grenade. I will not be the first death. Mark my words down. I am actually, so I know Jared's not going to be the first death because he's just kind of too proud to allow himself to do that. So I am actually going to bet the flawless on this, which was plus 1,000. And my current glimmer situation, I'm sitting at 17,800. So I will bet 5,000 glimmer that we go flawless on that.
All right. Well, if that hits, I mean, we might as well just call this segment a wrap. At that point, it's done. Yeah, Chad, how you feeling?
I was hoping you to ignore me and just move on to the next thing because I was
Hold on.
initially going to vote for. I was going to vote for
Let's tell everybody
Ryan
how much
because I
glimmer.
can't vote for me.
Tell everybody how much glimmer Chad has. Chad is up double second place, or not quite double, but right, basically double. Chad's sitting at 34,900 glimmer, and I have 17,800, and Jared has 14,800. So Chad's been playing the some would call it the yellow bellied coward way to play this segment. So Chad, what do you want to say for yourself?
I don't know. I can't hear you from my pile of money. I'm too high to listen to you.
I'm too far ahead of you guys to be able to hear you.
Well, like I said, my only default option was to vote for Ryan because I can't vote for me. I would have voted for me because I knew that Jared was going to vote for Ryan, and Ryan was going to do his damnedest to make sure that didn't happen. And I was going to be like, "Oops."
I'll go. All right, Chad. I'll go all in on you then. I'll just protect Fox. If you want Fox, that's fine.
This is horrible. Son of a gun.
Listen, you can't be copping out again. Make a small bet on the huge.
You got to make
plus.
a real. You can't bet 1,000 glimmer being double the lead of everybody. That's not what this segment's for.
I didn't want to be in this segment in the first place. So I'm going to put 10 on Ryan.
Oh, 10,000 glimmer that I'm the first death. There we go.
Yep.
Ryan,
I'll take your triple B. I'll take your triple B back after that bet. All right, that should be fun. So I kind of wanted to. So first things first, let's kind of talk about content for this coming week. So we kind of want to do two things. We want to put out a quote unquote guide on how that we use our, like what builds we use and kind of how we go through, and we will upload that. Basically, our first attempt we'll upload to YouTube, and if we die and don't complete it, our attempt that we beat it on, we will upload it to YouTube. So you'll get at the very least the first attempt with that, as well as the attempt that we actually completed on. Hopefully it's the same attempt and you just get one video. We had kind of talked about live streaming this on Twitch or YouTube. I'm kind of thinking YouTube since most of our other stuff's on YouTube. Um, so we will follow us on Twitter at Destiny CC Pod, and you'll be able to kind of follow that. I imagine it's going to be a YouTube live stream as well as maybe an uploaded video just for like it to be concise and clear in case it takes us more than one run.
Yeah, it should be easy for us to put out the VOD. Like once the live stream becomes a VOD, and you all can drag it and just like get to the point. If we screw it up and we wipe one and we hurry up and get to the next one, and we talk through our decision making of why we're running a bow over an unstoppable mod or overload mod, and how we filling those out. Um, and then it's kind of down because we thought we was good to upload 6 Grandmasters this week, and have those done. Unfortunately, that's not the way it happened. All right, Chad. I hear we're coming to a bookend for the Marcina. What was it? How do we say this? The
It's her
Marsana?
name, Mara Senna.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Marcina.
Mara Senna.
All right.
I mean, it's basically 2 books. It's the Mara Senna and the book of the Awoken one, and they meld right into each other. It's too many books, um, but I'll keep this one a little short based on the time here. Um, so we left off and are going to start where Mara is calling her people back. We left where she finally realizes that she needs to call herself the queen, where she is the queen, not because of any decision that she made, but because of the way she's led her life and the way that the people see her from her initial time on the Yangli Way. And so she makes a call to get all the people home. She appoints paladins to oversee her military, as Alice Lee had done during the Theodicy War. She created talented starfarers as corsairs to scour the asteroid belt in secrecy and to establish routes and caches that could support them during covert operations and stuff of Awoken ships. And she also told her brother, gave him a mission. And she said, "Never again can I allow my people to be divided. We must offer them more than shielding ice and cold habitat cylinders and the warrens of Vesta. We must make a culture, a thread that binds us all in pride and wonder at the mystery of ourselves. Nowhere does culture flourish better than in a city. Gather in one place," Aldrin warned her, "and you make yourself a target." Mara had considered this and found an answer. "Go forth and find me a power unknown to all the others of this world. Return it to me, and I shall make of it the cornerstone of my new city, where the Awoken shall dream of all that had been and all that is to come." So Aldrin went out voyaging among the worlds, swift as a blue shift ghost. In time, he returned to the reef with a creature not larger than his hand, saying, "Behold, sister, the lie that makes itself true. This is an Ahamkara." So with the Ahamkara, she is going to make, quote unquote, the city that the Awoken shall dream of all that they had been. So she makes the Dreaming City. Obviously, we already know what it is. We adventure through it all the time. And Riven is a major component of that. The Blind Well is basically funneling power, and she was actually used to create the Blind Well. Her body turned into a drill. She did all kinds of things in order to make the Dreaming City a reality. But Mara knows that Riven is very dangerous to others. She knows that she cannot allow others to get access to her and make their own wishes, because obviously, as we know, Riven and all the other Amkar are also kind of tricksters. They will make the wish a reality in a way that is beneficial to them, but obviously does what the, or quote unquote does what the person initially wanted. Now she on a side note, she does that through the wish wall, which if you ever want to run Last Wish through us and see what that is, we'll be happy to run you through that. But then it moves on to a little bit further in time, right before before Oryx invades, and Mara wakes from a dream, and she grabs a piece of paper in order to write down notes of her dream. And it says, I dreamt of a sword and a bomb. I dreamt of the self-honing blade that cut itself so fine it pierces the world and thus becomes the world. It is self-honing because it constantly whets itself against itself. I dream of death burying this blade, or of something so closely allied with death as if to be a synonym, so that to separate them would require a knife sharper than sharpness. Death raised up that blade, and I said, I cut all, and all I cut, Ayat. Then death cut the bomb, and the bomb was broken and could not fire. I was in the bomb. I knew that death was the cut verb, and that its only verb was to cut. So she's having a dream of what seems to be the sword logic. And she knows that something is coming that is wielding this sword logic, that is coming to kill everything in our system. And she says, what will soon be? I dreamt that the sword that was death and the rule sought out complexity, and to cut it, to reveal the simplicity within. I knew that soon we would be cut, for we were complex and full of secrets. I knew that it was coming. I knew that the stroke would fall and that I had to stop it. How can a bomb make use of a sword? How can the rule that separates life from death be killed? And she says, I must go to the Dreaming City and use the Oracle Engine. She tells the Techeuns, she says, prepare my ship. So she goes to the Oracle Engine, and 10 times she gets the same result. It shows her a sword that was death in the way it would appear. 10 times, and once more, it showed Mara an image of her family. First it showed Sir Ido, laughing and bright with strength, who would recede and later return. Then it showed Uldren, her brother, who explored the ruins of the fallen worlds and sought out challenges to test himself. Then it showed Mara, her own face lingered on the secret behind her eyes. And last of all, it showed Mara imperious with disdain toward her own feelings, curtly aloof toward all who asked her what troubled her, her mother, who had remained behind. So then she goes to Syr to talk, and she finally decides to confide in Syr what she has only told one other person in every existence that has ever happened. And she shares with her the secret that she told Alice Lee, that she was actually the first awoken to awake, and she made the rules of the distributary. The first thing Syr says is, you are the devil. You are the lone power who made death. You allowed the possibility of evil. You might be responsible for more preventable suffering than anything that has ever existed. And Mara simply stands there and is unable to shake her head or move at all. And then Syr says, well, if you hadn't, none of us would be here. I guess I don't see what else you could have done. If you cared about those who we left behind, if you wanted us to be able to go back and help in the fight. And Syr looks sly and she says, Mara, I don't think you could have confessed anything at all, unless it were a way of keeping a deeper secret what's really going on. And Mara says, there are many ways to godhood. The belt of Orion glitters on her helmet like a 3-star rating left by some hive entity Syr once killed. One way is to kill all that is killable, so all that remains must be immortal. Another is the road that I have walked, mostly by accident. One of the ways is closer to the sword, and one is closer to the bomb. If the bomb can defeat the sword by the standard of the sword, then the bomb has claim to primacy. Syr says, never mind. Seen anything cool on Crow surveillance lately? And completely ends the conversation, because she knows, as we all do, that Mara will not ever answer a direct question. And the war is steadily upon him, and Mara says that you cannot defeat a thing that is synonymous with death except in its own territory. You cannot flee or fear from death. You must face it. Death is a sword, and a sword is like the crossing point, like a bridge, and a bridge may be walked 2 ways. The plane exists in her mind alone, although beloved Eris has to be, by necessity, learned most of it. The Techeuns do not know the whole plan, although they will position the harbingers upon the threshold. Even sweet, capable Petra does not know the whole plan. She will leave many behind, and Uldren knows nothing of the whole plan at all. All he knows is that there's going to be a war and he's going to fight. And she will begin the end of Queen's brother today. She knows that what that means for the fate of her own, an eye for an eye. She must now think of the fate of the entire cosmos and of her tender, half assembled answer to the cold sword logic of the hive. She must not grieve, she must not fear. Now the war happens, and if anybody that's played D1 knows, there's a pretty major cutscene before the season starts, and they all engage in major space warfare around the dreadnought. And while this is happening, Oryx is charging up a hive ontological weapon in order to destroy everything. And Mara uses her harbingers in order to try to destroy the dreadnought, but to no avail. Not even a scratch is left on the ship. And then Oryx unleashes a blast that creates a huge ring around him of nothingness, completely vaporizes everything. During this, Mara closes her eyes, and she sees Oryx's throne world smashing through her fleet, the bubble of averted scream space pulverizing rock, metal, and flesh as mere matter surrenders to the will-made fact of the taken king. Somewhere, Uldren roars in defiance. This is the moment of absolute sacrifice, the incarnation of awoken doom, to give up their lives in defense of the world they once abandoned. The sense of their great dying rips at Mara like a sob. She feels her tech units preparing for emergency self-gates. Shuro-Chi reaches out to her, a wordless, urgent need for Mara to live, and it takes all the cold and passive remove of Mara's millennia to turn that hand away. The shockwave strikes. Mara dies. In one way, she is vaporized with her catch, the bonds between the very particles of her body questioned by the harrowing logic of Oryx's weapon, and found inessential. The mechanism of devastation is spontaneous fission. The author of the devastation is laughing in joy. In another way, a more true and symbolic way, she is impaled at Oryx's blade. She has thrown all her might at him, and he has answered. He has snuffed her fledgling divinity and her meager claim to royalty. She has exposed Mara to a raw and caustic hostility of his high war. She was defeated by the sword logic. She dances down the blade and steps into his throne world. The harbingers give her the gate, and she takes the step. She is dead, consumed by Oryx. She is dead in his will, his ascendant realm. There has no other way inside except this true way. Oryx's throne world tries to tear her body and her psyche into quintillion screaming pieces, but Mara has survived the inchoate, primordial chaos before space and time. She has retained her selfhood through far worse than this, and she has patience for eons. Eris will succeed, the Guardians will play their part, and when the power in this world is free for the taking, Mara will take it. Not as a victor taking spoils, but as a scavenger takes a prize component for her masterwork. When the pawn reaches the far side of the chessboard, it may promote it to a queen. And what hatches when you promote a queen? What new board does she claim her piece on? Mara knows. She settles in for a long wait, entirely alone, almost at peace with it. So at this point, she states that she is knowing of the plan, and she has to, in order to gain access to a throne world, she has to die by the throne world. So she has self-sacrificed in a way where she dies and pulls herself back together within the throne world, similar to what she had done to all of the Awoken when they awoke in the Distributary. They were ripped apart by a singularity, and she pulled everything back together in the Distributary. And she did the same thing and waited in that throne world until we beat Oryx and did a bunch of other things in order to bring her back. And then she bided her time in the shadows until Forsaken happened, and then came back to us. So, Ryan, now you know what happened. Now you know that she did die, quote unquote, but she pulled herself back together from nothingness in order to take over all that taken nonsense that he had.
Yeah, I knew she died. I knew that she died. Kind of. I maybe. Kind of, sort of. I don't know, man. I don't pay a lot of attention. Like, if it's like force fed to me, like I understand what's going on. It's all the stuff. D1 was really bad about all the cool stuff being hid outside of the game and grimoire cards and stuff. So, uh, you know, I'm not even going to take. I'm going to say it's Bungie's fault. I'm not going to say it's not Ryan Fox's fault for that. So I think we're ready for the mailbag. Like an hour 20 and 30 seconds into this. Somebody wants to put that down. I'd appreciate it. So our first question is, where would you rank this season in regards to the seasons that have came this year? I know the season isn't over, but base it upon a loot and the gameplay loop. So this year of Destiny, we've had Season of the Hunt, Season of the Chosen, Season of the Splicer, and Season of the Lost. So, in my opinion, I would say Splicer was the best, Chosen was second, Hunt was third, and Lost is fourth. So,
Oh, so
the primary reason for, I want to say before you guys like just destroy me, weapon wise, there's not really a weapon this season that I'm dying to get that's a seasonal weapon. But if you look at Season of the Lost, you had like Deafening Whisper was one of those, and you also had Adored that season, I'm pretty sure.
Season of the
So
Hunt.
those, yeah, Season of the Hunt.
Okay.
So because you had those two weapons, that kind of puts them above anything this season.
all right, so I agree with your 1 and 2 because Splicer we did get Vital Glass in that season, so that made that season feel so much better. And then I blanked on the missions that the corrupted something.
Oh God. Why? Once you say it,
Yeah,
it's gone from my brain too, man.
yeah,
But yeah.
Talking about you talking about Season of the Splicer or whatever?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so you had like Tartarus and
Yes,
and those
Tartarus is the one I
weapons,
ran, but like those was expunge,
the
as
Yes.
expunged
in
missions, and
Corrupted
then you had
expunge
the
missions. Yeah.
corrupted versions of the expunged
yes,
missions.
yes. I really enjoyed those. They was you get you know very easily done in 4 or 5 minutes. Didn't have to really think about it too much. If
That's the
you
primary reason we enjoyed them, though, is because they were short and quick, right?
yes, yes,
Okay, that's
that's a
fine. I'm right there. I agree 100%. That was
yeah.
my number one too.
I'm agreeing with your number one and number two. You know, I think Chad's there with you. Presence was so good. Uh, it was really fun. Um, Now Season of Lost is number 3 because its seasonal content was better than the hunt stuff. Like filling up that cryptolift and going and following the trail to go kill the same boss over and over again. That wasn't that was really bad. And I guess there was a weapon to chasing that deafening whisper, but I haven't used it since I got one in Season of the Hunt.
Man, I was maining that thing in Splicer because of the void cells. Um, but honestly, I think we're all in the same boat, the same exact order across the board. And if we're not, like you said before, not talking story wise, but based off of loot, um, like Hunt, the only thing that I really enjoy for the weapons was deafening, and their gameplay loop was small, and it was only one thing because they were leaning on the Empire hunts and all of the stuff that came with Beyond Light. Which I mean, I get it. You can do that if this everything's brand new. But we have a 6-man activity. No matter how long it is, we do have an activity. We have the Shattered Realm, which is if you do it quickly, even the longest one's like 15 minutes if you don't care about the triumphs. Um, and it is technically a whole new zone for us, so it's something interesting to look at and run around through. But we also have a couple of really new and really interesting guns compared to the one from Hunt. Um, Now, Season of the Chosen, we had a couple of guns. We got Frenzy, which made a lot of things very fun. We also got Impulse Amplifier, so a bunch of rockets all of a sudden became viable. And then Season of the Splicer, we got a bunch of guns, and then we got the expunge missions, which are by far some of the most fun content. and it's definitely so far this year, Splicer is easily top of the board there, even though it feels like the 6-man activity was made for a 3-man, and then they just added the 3 extra. Like if they added just a bunch more
Right.
enemies, it would have
Definitely.
been wild. It would have been wild, and it would have been a lot more fun. But that's literally the only
I'll
qualm
tell
I
you what,
have with
man,
that.
that would have been real fun. Would have been
Yeah,
real
if
fun
you
as a
just
three
double
man
the enemies,
activity. You would have been like kind of
oh,
struggling. You would have kind of been struggling if you were in there with 3 people, like each person taking like one part of like a third of the map. You would have been really giving them the business to get them all down. So I think that um, we're mostly in agreement. And I think that the only difference would be the loot between the third and fourth place. But I think there's a big gap between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, in my opinion, on this. So, question number 2: do you think that Bungie is purposefully not unlocking all Grandmaster Nightfalls at once to prolong engagement? This question is from JB. So I think JB is a little bit of a Bungie conspiracy theorist. I've noticed that a lot of his questions are none of them really give them the benefit of the doubt. They kind of come in and uh, they always think that Bungie's out to get them. So I don't, and I'm going to say it. I don't necessarily disagree. I think that they kind of voice the opinion that I kind of have in the back of my mind, but I don't always like 100% think, but it's always there that like, hey, they're trying to keep engagement up this season. They know that it's a long season, so by not unlocking all of the nightfalls, they make it to where we have to hang around, and the more we're around, the more that we look at the store, the more that we look at the store, the more likely we are to spend our money on silver and then buy those things. So, I have to say, Bungie, you guys have not done a great job this season at making me want to buy things. I'm sitting on like 2100 glimmer or 2100 silver rather, ready to buy something, but there's really nothing jumping out at me to buy. So,
Yeah. What comes to mind is that we would normally be like about ready to have an expansion within the next month or two. So people would be on there doing stuff, getting the bounties grinded up, and like to me, like they have board meetings, like, all right, what's the player engagement like? And we'll at a decrease whenever the history of Bungie always had to increase at this time.
exactly.
Throws up red flags for them. So yeah, I think that's definitely why.
it's definitely it's a major possibility bordering on that's definitely what's happening. And like Jared said, the main reason is because of that. They know also they didn't even need to have a board meeting to know what there's going to be a drop off. They already knew for a fact there's going to be a drop off, which is the only reason we get extra content in December, because they knew that it's going to be. Without that extra content, people in the end of October, November, December just wouldn't be playing. They would only play like they would load in to play the seasonal content for the week it comes out, and then bounce out after they get all their triumphs and stuff done, and that's it. Like Ryan and I would log on, buy our dinosaur sets for season of the all the Festival of the Lost stuff, and then leave right after that. So
Right. Even though
like that's it.
dinosaurs aren't even real. So, our
Oh
next
god.
question here is: how do you feel with a week off from trials?
It's needed. They need to. I don't like this flip flop matchmaking thing of how it's split between Friday and Saturday and then Sunday, Monday. I think just they need to fix the flawless pool loot in the flawless pool playlist before they bring it back.
Yeah, I think the first decision of banana means no trials is the correct decision. And secondly, I think they do need to iron some stuff out before trials. Trials is comes back the week after. And then the third thing is I think Jared just needs a break. I think there needs to be a bomb map coming out in 2 Fridays, and I think I need to hold off until Monday night to suffer with him and be a man at arms,
That's right.
and
That's what we need to do.
let Ryan suffer on his own all weekend.
Listen, it's just that the stars align for me to be able to suffer in the weekend because typically I'm not able to play like I was able to play. This is the most. I played more trials last weekend than I played any other weekend combined. I think, so this is kind of an oddball weekend for me. So, what I would say in regards to this question with a week off, I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking about it today. I was driving around at work. I only drove like 60 or 70 miles today. I was like, man, I'm kind of gonna miss trials this weekend. I think I'm addicted to going to the lighthouse. I've only got to experience it 4 times total, once in D1 and the last 3 weeks in D2, and I'm gonna miss it. Um, I used to really look forward to Iron Banner. I used to love Iron Banner when my wife played this game. She used to love Iron Banner. So, but right now, I have no desire for Iron Banner. I wish I was chasing the lighthouse. Obviously, there's some things that I wish they would do. I kind of like the flawless pool. I'm not sure how. I think there's something wrong whenever you can have like a 90 game win streak and not be in the flawless pool. So I think there's some changes to be made with that, and maybe we can talk more about that and break it off as like its own segment in the future in regards to how basically if they had a rankings. I know Jared and I have spoke extensively about this. If they had a ranking system for the flawless pool, like a top 10, top 50, top 100, top 250, top 500, top 1000, and you can only work towards that while you're in the flawless pool. That's going to try to get all these players that are awesome into the flawless pool as early as possible, and doing that is going to get them out of the regular players pool quickly as well, and getting them in there to where they're fighting over like an emblem or a rank that shows up on their emblem. Being able to do that, if they're all fighting over trying to be top 10 or top 25 or top 50 or however they decide to do that. We kind of thought about how Overwatch did it. They have like top 500 and then like Grandmaster and yada yada yada. So if they're able to do that with trials to give them an incentive and make the loot better, man. If you get a win, say you go flawless in a like if you're in the flawless pool and every game you win, you get like a 90% chance at an adept weapon, who cares? Like what's it matter at that point? Uh Let them fight over a rank so they have some incentive to go in there as quickly as possible, and then let the bums like us three go be able to have fun going flawless on like a Saturday. Because it really sucks when you only have Sunday and Monday. And Monday, you still have the gatekeepers that I think it's hilarious just to like pub stomp everybody in there. So that's probably another question for another time, though, to be honest. Question 4: what are your plans for the Grandmaster Nightfall content? I've looked at your YouTube channel and have seen a few videos posted from previous season, but some of them don't have voice of the other players. So, Jared, I'll let you talk on that.
So we talked about if we live stream on YouTube, like us like doing Grandmasters, so that automatically becomes a VOD, and you'll be able to hear us as long as we set up OBS correctly to capture Discord voice chat. You should be able to hear us talk easily. If we did work 40 plus hours a week, we could probably set up like a 3 channel, like have all 3 of our gameplay on the screen at once for you. But we're probably a little ways off from that. Maybe Wish Screen, we could have something like that going as we get more into the world of creating content for and creating walkthroughs of the Grandmasters.
I think we definitely need to do a couple of practice runs maybe this weekend where we just record some stuff on OBS and see how it goes. But we definitely want to do more like in-depth guides of the GMs for sure, especially since we do have a new one this season. Um, Something that we haven't run through before as a GM. It's going to be something that it's going to be fun for us to go through and build a loadout and then watch Ryan die first, and then all of us just have a good time just getting just getting murdered by things that we didn't expect. But our in depth guides are always something that's very fun for us to do anyway. To talk out why we're doing things, what we're doing, why we're waiting, or why we're pushing, and stuff like that is something that I definitely look forward to making and doing more of. Especially, I want to get all 6 of these GMs done this season, and then look forward to doing more other stuff down the line.
Yeah, so kind of piggyback on these guys. So the reason that the videos, some of like the first one didn't have any audio, is because I'm a dummy and I don't know how to create content. So you guys get to suffer through me learning and the trials and tribulations of that. So we kind of have a little bit better of an idea. None of us are experts by any stretch of the imagination. We're kind of learning as we go. And I'm sorry that you guys have to go through the growing pains, but in like 3 years when we're super famous for playing Destiny, you guys will be able to say, hey, I remember when those dumbasses couldn't even get all their audio together on a video. So we're doing it for you, not for us.
Yep. All right, question 5. Will you be in the Halo Infinite Beta flight this weekend, or is Jared a New World player main now? I did play New World. I've played a lot of New World this week already.
Jared, what level are you?
22. I've already put in 23 and a half hours, and it's been out. Yeah.
It's been out, what, 48?
I was gonna say that's almost as much time as you've been in a queue.
I took off work today because I didn't feel like doing work and I just wanted to play. So, me, Mr. Vegas, Zen did some PvP together, and it was a blast today. And we got next to a horde, and everybody just shoot the muskets off, and it felt like a Revolutionary War. It was quite fun. It is definitely the game I'm going to be playing along with my wife while Destiny's at a low point. But I'm going to be ready to go whenever that 30th anniversary stuff comes out, and then look forward to Witch Queen too.
Yeah, so don't worry about Jared. Jared was very eager to come play Destiny last night and run some new people through the raids and things. Some clan mates that are kind of taking some time off and we're coming back. So if you kind of fall into that, let us know, man. Reach out to us on Destiny or on Twitter at Destiny CC Pod, on the Discord server. Let us know. We would love to run through that old content, man. I love those old raids. Last Wish, man, that's my favorite raid of all time, I think, and that's even above King's Fall. You know, like King's Fall and Last Wish are right there, but I think Last Wish is probably my favorite. Garden, I'm looking forward to getting back in there. That's just a beautiful raid. And with this season, I think it'll be pretty easy to carry people through it that haven't been through it before. So make sure you hit us up on that. As far as the Halo Infinite beta, or I'm sorry, it's not a beta, it's a flight, that the technical preview that comes out. I did get an email to join that. I did not play any last week solely because I was really focused on trials and trying to get as many games as possible in to try to give our viewers / listeners a good idea of my thoughts on that. So I will say though, I did get an email 2 days ago that allowed me to invite a friend into that Halo Infinite flight. And I messaged my uncle Scott and I was like, Scott, man, let's go. Let's get in here. And he was, so my uncle Scott is, I think he's 10 years older than me. And so he was like super excited. He thought he had like hit the jackpot of being able to play the game before it came out, you know. So I'm 33, he's 43, and he thought like, oh my god, I get to play the game early. like, yeah, let's go, man. So he's really hitting me up like, what do I need to do to make sure I can download it on my Xbox and everything. So I've been walking him through that. So I imagine this weekend I will be spending some time in the Halo Infinite flight with my uncle Scott, who is super excited, and I'm excited, and we've literally been playing Halo together for like 20 years, since 2001 at this point. So I'm kind of excited to get back in there. I know they've been doing a lot of adjustments. I heard from week 1 to week, or from like the first flight to the second flight, in regards to like some time to kill and some of the weapons and things. So I'm kind of excited to get back in there. And I know they had a new map, like Breakout was a new map, and they only brought it out in the second week, the second weekend of the flight. They brought it out in the very last portion of that, and my understanding is that they are kind of weighing it heavier than the other maps, so we get to play that new map. So I think that's like 3 or 4 maps that we've got to play from that, and they've all been pretty good so far. So I'm kind of excited to get in there and see how it feels.
Yeah, I'm more than likely going to be on that flight too, um, because of trials and Ryan trying to get me into trials. I did not get a chance to play last weekend, which made me very sad. Because me not reading emails thoroughly, it's like I'm Sunday night, like I should play it tonight just to get to play. I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm off tomorrow. It's Monday. It's fine. And I'm like, nope, it ends Sunday night. So yeah, never mind. I'm not playing it. But I'm gonna try to get in there this weekend for sure. Since Banana's going on, I know Ryan's not be pulling me in his trials. So I'm gonna get some time in there. Jared's gonna have fun playing some New World. I'm gonna try to set up my spy cam on him so I can watch him play, and just have a just have a chill time. I already did all my Shattered Throne or Shattered Realm stuff this week, so I'm chilling on only like running raids with people that want to run some raids, or just doing some more prep for Grandmasters for my homies, and doing that kind of stuff. But I don't have anything I need to grind for at the moment, so I'm definitely going to be in that on that Halo life this weekend.
And Jared, I assume you're going to be watching our Wildcats take on the Gators this weekend, and you're not got in New World, so you're not going to be touching Halo, I imagine.
No, I do not have time for Halo, but I have been watching people play Halo. I've seen some of the bigger Twitch and YouTube people have been playing, and I do like what I see. I think it'd definitely be a game I dabble in the PvP every now and then, and potentially play through the campaign whenever the co-op comes out.
Yeah, so I will. I know that whenever the co-op comes out, the three of us will probably. I imagine we'll probably live stream us playing through that campaign. If I had to guess, and so it's Destiny adjacent. I would say at the very least.
Just
So,
roots.
right, yeah. Even though I still don't trust 343 farther than I can throw them. So I just want to say, make sure you guys, if you listen to us on like Spotify or iTunes, follow us on YouTube. If you watch us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify or iTunes. That really helps us get out there. This thing's kind of growing pretty well, and honestly, none of us have put a whole lot of effort into like marketing or anything like that. We've kind of take a all natural approach with the podcast here, so it's been pretty cool watching it grow. So so I've had some uncles and some people that I play games with, and they're all pretty surprised. We're like well over 1,000 views and listens, and now we're kind of closing in on 1,500, which is pretty wild to think about that. You guys like us enough to do that, so I just want to say like sincerely thank you guys. I know I sincerely appreciate it. I'll speak for the other two and say that they sincerely appreciate it as well. So make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at Destiny CC Pod. That's usually probably the best way to keep up with us. We do have a Discord server, so reach out if you want to join our Discord server. We're on Destiny at least 5 nights a week, probably 7 nights a week. If between the three of us, at least one or two of us are on. So yeah, so I'll let these other guys sign off here.
Yeah, so we have Roll Me Daddy section. Get in there and post your God rolls. I usually have one or two posted in there every other week. I like showing off, and I got a good stockpile. I went all in this week on Gambling Corner, so you might see a video tweeted out maybe next week if I lose. I'll video proof of the God roll that I deleted. But Fox is dying first. We all know that.
I'm gonna have to make gifs of Jared's deleting God rolls, and of
it's going to be posted
it's
for sure.
whichever one of us dies first is gonna be sorry, gift. I don't know how people want me to pronounce it, but yeah, it'll be. It's gotta happen, man. It's gonna. I know it's gonna be me, and I'm gonna be so mad about it. But it's gonna be the dumbest thing, and I'm gonna be very excited, and we can't wait to make that GM video for sure.
All right, that's it for us. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Destiny CC Pod. Like, subscribe, click the bell, all that stuff on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Go Cats. Love you guys.